שההסכם כולו הוא חלק בעל משקל רב במסגרת יוזמת השלום האמריקאית.
כבוד השר, בנפרד מן השאלה מי אחראי, אני שואל, מהי האינסטנציה הגבוהה ביותר שהחליטה בפועל על הפיטורים האלה?
אין לי מה להוסיף לתשובתי הקודמת.
שר הביטחון ישיב לשאילתה של חבר הכנסת זבולון המר, מספרה 1463.
And we are talking tonight only about SA-2 surface-to-air missiles. This sketch has been made from these air photos that show in this sequence the August 7 before the ceasefire became effective, August 13 and August 16. You can see clearly the positions, how they have been constructed, where there was nothing before it on August the 7th. There's 4 positions as they were on August 7th, the day when the ceasefire became effective.
And how effective do you think this ceasefire is?
Well, the Egyptians already broke the contents of their obligations almost immediately after the ceasefire came into force. 10 Greenwich Mean Time on Friday night. We know now from the most reliable sources that after midnight, Friday, they moved the SAM-2 some 20 kilometers to the Suez Canal. The agreement of the ceasefire included a stipulation according to which in a zone of 50 kilometers west and east to the canal, no installations can be brought in, and all the installations should be on the same sides as they were placed before the ceasefire agreement came into force. This is a very serious development for us because now the Egyptians can cover with their SA-2 missiles even 10 kilometers over our side of the canal. And when the day comes, as they promise it will, and they will reopen fire with the 2,000 odd guns and tanks they have amassed on the other side of the canal, our efforts may be jeopardized in intervening and in defending our soldiers. This is a most serious breach of the obligations taken by the Egyptians and the promises given to us by the Americans.
Okay.
You know, these men are every morning, from very early in the morning till the night, are patrolling this way. They are exposed, and I mean exposed bodily, to bazooka, to light arm fire, and they get the fire almost every day.
Has there been any improvement here since the ceasefire?
I don't think so. I don't think so. No one can tell you that there's any improvement in this area. Maybe on the contrary, a little bit more fire.
Well, now, these are the shells that came over the other day.
Yes, this is a tailpiece of the 81 millimeter mortar shell. It's called Brand, of French made. And they were used by the Fatah, and they are in use by the Fatah. We got 20 of those pieces 2 nights ago during the so-called ceasefire.
What is the sort of atmosphere like here in the evenings when you all go down into your shelters?
No, well, we don't go down, no, by no means.
But you sleep, don't you, in the shelters?
No, only our children up to the age of 8, 9 sleep in shelters. We have a few, very few, some 5 or 6 old people who have difficulties in moving quickly. They sleep permanently in shelters, but the whole population sleeps in their rooms, and we have our everyday life. We have our meetings in the evenings. We have never given up any concert or picture or anything at all. We try, and we have succeeded so far, to live a normal and usual life, and our production has gone up. We are working in our fields and everywhere else as usual, and we have been able not to change anything in our lives except for the precautions, necessary precautions, of course.
All we gotta do is rinse him off and put in a little more. He's much dirtier than I am.
I see you've been eating an ice cream cone. Chocolate, I would say. Well, come along, we'll watch.
No, thank you, Mr.
You know what do you feel like when it all happens?
Well, me personally, I'm terrified. You know, just shaking. That's right. After I reach the shelter, I shake, but beforehand, it's very calm. That's all.
Why do you come here at all?
I don't know. I like it here. You know, the people are very nice, and I like it here.
In spite of the shelling, you come here.
Yes, it doesn't. I mean, the shelling isn't every night.
Would you come back again?
Yes, oh yes.
תיכנס למיטה.
לא של הדף שלך.
זהו ותשכב.
לא, אני
בדיוק מתאים לתוכנית. פחות או יותר.
חשמל ללחי, נורא כחולה.
אז קבעו אותך בתור כוכב? אפשר לשנות אולי את ה...
Your Majesty, are you optimistic about at the moment about the chances of a successful peace settlement in the Middle East?
I must say I'm more so than I was some weeks ago. I believe there is a new initiative and there is a new movement. After the situation was left to deteriorate to a very dangerous point in terms of dangers to all concerned in the area and dangers to world peace. Maybe this in itself has contributed towards this new initiative. And our position and that of the United Arab Republic has in fact been always constant since November of '67 when we accepted the Security Council's Resolution 242. And all the principles it contained as the basis for the establishment of a just and durable peace in the area. So, once again, our position has, I hope, been constructive. And although it is difficult to see how things are going to end up at this point, we are enthusiastic and we are optimistic as well.
The Palestinian commandos in Amman speak of the peace talks as a betrayal of their cause. How do you react to that sort of statement?
I believe that no two countries in the Arab world have done more or likely to do more for the Palestinian cause and for the Arab cause, in fact, than Jordan and the United Arab Republic. And whenever we have taken any position, we have always had in mind our responsibilities as governments, our responsibilities towards our people in the occupied territories, our responsibilities towards the world. And I believe that this is basically been the case, and at the same time we are very happy with the positions that we have taken. We believe in them, and we believe that they are the only positions we should have taken up to now.
Have you any plans at the moment, sir, to prevent further commando raids across the Jordan River and into Israel?
As I've said, in terms of operations in the occupied territories, we have not and will not have any right or accept to be held responsible for such operations so long as occupation continues, so long as there is no progress towards a solution. Until now, there is nothing new that has altered this picture.
Will you personally find it difficult to negotiate with Israel? Do you feel much bitterness towards Israel after 22 years of fighting?
Well, definitely we have suffered a very, very great deal. And we have two objectives, really. Obviously, the broad objective is a just and durable peace in this area. It needs two ingredients as far as the Arab side is concerned. One of them is the liberation of all territories occupied in June of '67, and the other one is the recognition of the basic right of the Palestinian people who have suffered so much, the right of self-determination granted them by the many UN resolutions up to this time. The Israelis have always had a choice of two, really, peace or territory, and they could never have both. There is movement at this stage, and I hope that the end result will be the establishment of a just and durable peace.
hopeful are you now that this ceasefire and this new Rogers plan will lead to a decent prospect of peace?
I don't think there is anybody now in Israel who is hopeful about peace coming. People talk about peace, but we should look the real things and see them around as they are. There are no peace negotiations, in fact, because there are only talks between Dr. Yaring and the Israelis and Dr. Yaring and the Egyptians and the Jordanians on the other side. And you might have read already the statement made by Mr. Haikal. It's a very, I may say, decisive statement. He is now the spokesman of Nasser, to the effect that there won't be any negotiations with Israel and Egypt will never sign a peace treaty. Under such conditions, you can never call those talks peace negotiations. And then the discrepancy between the demands of the Egyptians and the demands which will be put even by my colleagues after we resign from the cabinet is so wide that it's very difficult to see how an agreement can be reached, except if there should be complete surrender by Israel to pressure. I prefer not to believe that such surrender is forthcoming.
How much of this occupied territory do you think should be given back for peace, if you can really get peace?
Well, I would never talk like this. First of all, the Arabs have to decide that they do want peace. They don't want it. That they do want to conclude a peace treaty with us. They don't want it. So any talk about so-called concessions cannot bring peace nearer. On the contrary, it only brings pressure, and it causes harder pressure, as we can see now. As far as the Rogers plan is concerned, I would first of all like to point out that if the Americans will really try to convince anybody in Israel that we should go back to the lines of 4th of June with what the Americans call minor modifications, then they will meet almost overwhelming resistance by the people of Israel.